Again, the transmission lines concept is explained with the help of distributed element. Okay, explained with the help of distributed element. You have to be very clear about that. Whenever transmission line comes to your mind, then it is of distributed element. Distributed element, not lumped, because there are two varieties: lumped network and distributed network. Okay, whenever transmission line comes, that is explained with the help of distributed networks, distributed element, then you should know what is lumped circuit, lumped element circuit and distributed element circuit. Okay, once there are two varieties: lumped element circuit and distributed element circuit. Distributed element circuit. Whenever your frequency of operation is less than 1 gigahertz, whenever your frequency of operation is less than 1 gigahertz, that means you are dealing with lumped element circuit. If frequency of operation is sorry, not 1 gigahertz, 1 kilohertz. Okay, whenever you are operating with frequency that is less than 1 gigahertz, you can use lumped element circuit. Whenever it is greater than 1 kilohertz, then we have to use distributed element circuit. Lumped element circuit is analysis is given by circuit theory, and then distributed element analysis is given by transmission line theory. Then why we have to go for distributed element circuit? Because once if your frequency is more, if frequency is large, because transmission line carries the signal energy at larger frequency. Transmission line in general, transmission line carry energy of signal with larger frequency, energy of signal with a larger frequency. Okay, generally transmission line carries the energy of the signal from one end to another end with the larger frequency. Okay, and please don't confuse this with the transmission line that is available with the electrical. Okay, in case of electrical also you are having transmission line, but that transmission line is carrying energy only at the frequency of 50 hertz, not at a higher frequency. But our transmission lines, in case of electronic circuit, our transmission lines carry the energy at a larger frequency. So the analysis is completely different. Okay, don't compare with the transmission lines that is available with the electrical people. Okay, so transmission line, our transmission line carry energy from one end to another end with a signal of larger frequency. So when frequency is high, then why we have to go for a distributed element circuit instead of lumped element circuit? The main reason, as the frequency increases, if frequency is high, then there is a problem of transit time effect. Now workingla, whenever frequency is high, effect. Okay, whenever there is the problem of transit time effect, then you cannot analyze the circuit with the help of lumped element. You have to analyze the circuit with the help of distributed element concept. Okay, so far you know what is lumped element because you know little bit about circuit theory, but now we will see what is distributed element analysis. Okay, distributed element analysis. So it's very clear whenever the frequency is high, because why frequency is high? Because transmission line is used to carry the larger frequency. As the frequency is high, transit time effect comes. Once if the transit time effect is there, you cannot analyze the circuit with the lumped element circuit. You have to analyze it with the distributed element circuit. Okay, so this is the basics for two-wire transmission line. Then what is the reason behind why we are using distributed element concept instead of lumped element concept? Okay, now next we'll see some basics. Okay, symmetric network. What is symmetric network? Symmetric network is a network which looks same even if you see it from input side or if you see it from the output side. That means what? Even if you interchange the input and output terminals of the symmetric network, the performance of the network will not vary. Okay, the performance of the network will not vary. That is the concept of symmetric network. Say for example, if you are having some impedance like this, and then one more impedance like this. Okay, so this is input side and this is output side. It is very clear. It's looking same both from input side and from output side. Even if you interchange the input and output terminal, the performance of the circuit will not change. Okay, so that's why this is called as symmetric network. This can also be written like this. Say this is S2, then 2 is Z2, 2 is Z2. Okay, and now this is the input and this is out. This is also another symmetric circuit. So then what will happen? These two will get added. Then finally you will get Z1. Similarly, if you connect one more symmetric network in this side, then that will become Z1. Then finally your circuit is characterized by what? Z1. Similarly here, in case of second case also, if you connect one more circuit with this like this one, then what will happen? Those impedance will become parallel. Then what is the parallel combination of 2Z2 and 2Z2? Finally you will get Z2. That means what? Your circuit is finally characterized by Z2. Okay, you can connect any number of symmetric network with this, then finally that circuit parameter will not be changed. That's why I'm writing in this way. Okay, next we'll see what is characteristic impedance. Okay. Characteristic impedance. Okay, so I am having a symmetric network. I am having infinite symmetric network. I am connecting with each other. Okay, I am having infinite symmetric network. Say this is my first symmetric network, and then second, third, and so on up to infinite. I am having infinite symmetric network. Just now we have seen what is the symmetric network. I have seen the infinite symmetric network. Once if I connect infinite symmetric network, then I try to measure what is the impedance at the input side. What is the impedance at the input side? The impedance is really is equal to Z0. The impedance is really is equal to Z0. What is the impedance? The impedance is equal to Z0. That particular impedance is called as characteristic impedance. That particular impedance is called as characteristic impedance. Okay, when I am having infinite symmetric network, if I connect infinite symmetric network, okay, then I measure what is the impedance at the input end. Finally, I get some value. That value is called characteristic impedance of the circuit. That value is characteristic impedance of the circuit. It really gives you some characteristics about of your transmission line. Then finally, we'll prove that once if you have a lot of once if you have a transmission line with the infinite length, then that can be denoted as the symmetric network that is connected with each other. Infinite number of symmetric network that is connected with each other. Then this impedance will denote the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. Okay, so again the concept of characteristic impedance is a little bit tricky. Okay, it's not directly understood. It's not it will not be directly clear to you, but once if you solve few problems, few situation, then it will be clear to you. Okay, it's some quantity that denotes the properties of the transmission line. Or what is another way? What is another way to denote to define the characteristic impedance? You take only one symmetric network. You take only one symmetric network. Okay. You take only one symmetric network. Already somehow I know what is Z0. What is Z0? Now I try to measure the input impedance from this side. Okay, this is the source side. This is the load side. I am having only one symmetric network. This is not the infinite network.